The planet of love, beauty, and connection, Venus, squares the Lord of Karma, time, delays, and restrictions, Saturn, on Friday, April 14th, bringing a harsh reality check. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. I work in whole sign, use tropical zodiac, and see clients. If you'd like to work with me, check out the links down below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave me a like or a comment. I really appreciate that. And before we dive in, I wanted to let you know that I am hosting an astrological travel retreat in the beautiful, magical, and stunning Costa Rica. We're going in late September, and we will spend 6 days exploring, adventuring, going to farms, tasting real, organic rainforest chocolate, enjoying wildlife, and connecting and learning astrology. Our early bird rate is still live. The spots are being taken pretty quickly. You can save $100. So check out the link down below and travel with us. So this week, the week of April 10th, starts off rather well with the Jupiter Cazimi, which is a beautiful, lucky, abundant moment. Let me know how April 11th, Tuesday, went for you, because it's the day that, as an astrologer, I've been looking forward to. I've been talking to people about it. I posted a video about it. Share if you've experienced any examples of abundance, opportunities, good luck. As the week progresses, right, we have Venus squaring Saturn. So we start off on a high note, optimism, excitement, feeling like the world is our oyster. We can conquer it all. And then as the week progresses, on Friday, we get Venus squaring Saturn. Venus rules connection, right? Like Venus is the beauty, the glue that unites us all. It brings together things and people that seemingly don't fit together. She's in charge of affection, camaraderie, friendship. She represents our desires, things that we feel drawn to and things we want to achieve in life. Saturn is considered a greater malefic, right? Like Venus is a lesser benefic, so it brings positive things. Saturn is considered a greater malefic because we don't necessarily like the experience of Saturn, right? Like no planet is really bad or good, but if given a choice, most of us would rather go on vacation in Costa Rica than spend their weekend unloading groceries or doing some kind of hard labor type thing, right? Like groceries is not even applicable to the size of Saturnian duty. So Saturn represents boundaries. Saturn represents walls that protect us, but also walls that restrict us. Saturn is the cosmic red light a lot of times. It's not a harsh no. It's not like, okay, it will never happen. But it's a lot of times not yet. It's a sign that you need to put more work. Let's say you want to buy a house and you are ready, you're excited, right? Maybe you are a Capricorn rising, or you're trying to sell a house and you're like in the place and you feel like things are moving, but then Saturn comes into place and Saturn is like, Saturn says you have to do the work. You have to go talk to people. You have to hustle. You have to really put the effort in. So when Venus comes together with Saturn, on one hand, we may get kind of a not yet for things we desire, right? So there might be a sense of like feeling kind of lonely and frustrated. You may feel frustrated with yourself because maybe you're looking at your progress and kind of looking at your progress through very somber Saturnian eyes and feeling disappointed in yourself. Don't succumb to the influence of it, right? Like Saturn could be the Saturnian influence is actually always the time to recommit, to get more clear about what you want, to maybe journal, to explore the next steps and figure out a plan, figure out your next step. It doesn't have to be solid and you have all the answers. Start with one step and take it one step at a time. It's a great time to work in solitude because you may feel frustrated with other people. You may feel more inclined to lash out or express your frustration. So it could be a lovely time to spend time alone. But of course, don't ignore the feelings of other people if they're trying to reach out to you. Traditionally, Venus rules love. So when Saturn comes into the mix, there could be pressures on your romantic relationships. There could be tests of Saturn, tests of time, tests of stability, longevity. If the relationship is not stable, and you likely already know it, I feel like we always know it, especially like as women. I don't know if guys always know it, but I think as women, we usually know if things are long lasting or not. So if the relationship is already kind of shaky and built on a shaky ground, you're more likely to realize that it's not going to last. However, if a relationship is stable, you may encounter a test of long distance, for example. A partner gets an opportunity, has to move, or you deal with some kind of separation. Maybe there's some delays to you moving in together. Maybe responsibilities to elders that one of you is handling. That test, even if harsh and frustrating and cold, will end up bringing you closer together. It might be a good time to recommit to the relationship as well. Be ready to put in the work. Get ready to, work on it. Saturn and Venus together, they seem different, but at the same time, they're really good for being a gentle manager, for example, or they both like mastery and they like crafts and they like putting the effort into the things that are joyful. So here you can very much look at working on things, polishing your skills, investing into your passion projects, and maintaining or even strengthening your creative self-expression, right? So it doesn't have to be bad. Like I said, the effects are, while frustrating, they're not likely to last very long. I would give it 3 days before, 3 days after. So approximately starting with Wednesday, April 12th, and then lasting into the weekend, approximately until Sunday, maybe early Monday. But as soon as the transit goes by, we start to feel it less. So let's run through all 12 signs and take a quick look at what this might be a sign of for you. I use rising signs, but you're welcome to listen to your sun and moon. Rising sign tends to be more accurate because rising sign is the starting point in the chart. That's where the countdown begins, and that's what tells us astrologers where the transits fall in your chart. So if you are an Aries rising, Venus currently in your 3rd house will square Saturn in the 12th. And here we're dealing with Venus in the 3rd, wants to connect with neighbors, wants to connect with siblings, wants to have a good time out and about. And Saturn in the 12th will bring either it will be a self-defeating tendency that you have to address, or it could be a self-defeating tendency that is not yours. Maybe it's your sibling who's struggling with some kind of destructive habit, right? Like 12th house on the very negative could be addiction issues, or it could be like you had a plan to hang out, or you have a plan to start a podcast and then they don't show up and you realize that that's what they always do. Or a neighbor struggling with addiction and you're trying to be there and help them, but you're not quite connecting with them. There might be communication difficulties. There might be some things. Saturn is in the 12th house, is hidden things, is mental health blocks, but it's also hidden enemies, or it's things out of your control that can be affecting your everyday life and your communication and your schedule. And here the best advice is to communicate, to express yourself as honestly as possible, have a direct conversation, and get more clear about what you want or what exact steps do you need to take in order to get you where you're trying to go. If you feel overwhelmed with work, maybe it's your sign to start saying no to some things and try to create a better work-life balance. If you are a Taurus rising, Venus in Gemini, your 2nd house will be squaring Saturn in the 11th. And here we have tension between the houses of money and values and the house of friendships, networks, hopes, and dreams. So few ways this could manifest, as always, right? This could be a sign that you and your friends are not seeing eye to eye. You disagree, and that could be a friend, or that could be a professional partner. That could be someone you are united with, or a group that you work with. Second house representing money and values. With Venus there, you are likely to have this desire to spend on something, to invest into something, or you're realizing what truly matters to you. And with Saturn in the 11th, it's going to make you look at the group dynamic, or even at your plans for the future, right? 11th house deals with your dreams, with your hopes and your plans. And there might be a bit of a tension between what you want to do in the immediate short-term frame and what you want to do in the long-term sense. For example, you want to go on a trip, but your plans for the future involve taking a course. So you have to do some careful balancing in order to figure out how to do what's more important to you, right? Like it's a question of prioritizing. And tensions with friends I can see here as well. Disagreements about the way to proceed, disagreements about what's important, etc. For Gemini rising, Venus in Gemini is in your first house, blessing you with beauty, charm, attractiveness. It's going to be squaring Saturn in the 10th. So here it's literally your personal joy, your well-being, your goals, dreams, aspirations versus your professional obligations. So maybe there's tension between your personal project, your business, let's say, and your job, where your job is requiring so much of you that you're having to put your personal desires on hold. It could also be the time when Saturn brings like a harsh reality check in terms of what you want to do and whether what you're trying to accomplish is realistic. And I wouldn't, I would recommend that you don't get discouraged and feel like if there is a block, if there's a delay, that means you should reroute. Rewriting is good. Don't just stop in your tracks and decide that you don't have to, or you don't have what it takes, right? Saturn in the 10th house is a lot of times a sign of needing to think more deeply about what you're trying to accomplish. So watch out for conflicts with bosses, watch out for tensions around finding a job, being happy with a job. It definitely feels like whatever is happening in your professional sector is cramping your style around this time. And if it is, look for ways to have more fun and adjust your professional life in order to have a better balance. But don't expect it to be quick. Saturn is never quick. Love you, Saturn. If you are a Cancer rising, Venus in the 12th house is going to square Saturn in the 9th house. And here we have Venus in the 12th wanting to escape. Venus in the 12th will likely want some solitude. She would want to travel, to go away, to have a romantic relationship that is free and maybe not necessarily talk about it with everyone. And it will square Saturn in the 9th house, bringing a block in a shape of a legal battle or legal matter, education responsibilities, maybe conflicts with teachers, maybe ideological debates. So if it has to do with you wanting to escape and getting excited about some kind of opportunity to travel, for example, Saturn in the 9th could be you need to get a visa, or you need to go to school, or you need to pass a test that you thought you did but you didn't pass. Venus in the 12th squaring Saturn in the 9th could also be the time to look at your beliefs and to look at your life philosophy and guiding principles, and how do things you've been believing your entire life, how do they affect your love life? Because Venus in the 12th house is often the time in which we realize what type of actions we're taking and people we're seeing that are not good for us and not healthy for us. So this could be a very spiritual, insightful time, as well as the time to handle any legal, writing, education matters that maybe you've been procrastinating with. Teachers can be especially oppressing around this time too, so beware. Don't fight with them. If you are a Leo rising, Venus in the 11th house is going to square Saturn in the 8th. And here you're looking at your dreams and your plans for the future and all of the monetary, all of the financial, contractual obligations you have that might be standing in your way. For example, you want to film a movie, right? But you have a debt you have to pay out and financially you cannot afford it at this point. Or you have this beautiful job or this beautiful project that you want to take on, but your partner is struggling and needs your help and you have to readjust or take, I keep saying this or keep thinking this, a reality check. You keep having to look at things from a more realistic perspective, right? This could even be the time in which you, for example, if you're pregnant, you feel excited, but you realize that you have to rely on your partner to take care of you. And while that could be wonderful, this also means that there is less freedom. There is less of an ability to make your own independent decisions. So look closely at all of your debts and taxes and financial matters, and maybe think of how you can clear some of the spoken and unspoken agreements, or how can you select them wisely. Be careful around this time, like signing contracts or agreeing to things that feel tough, oppressing, and frustrating. If you are a Virgo rising, Venus in the 10th house in the sign of Gemini will square Saturn in your 7th house. And this feels like professional aspirations versus relationship pressures and responsibilities. Venus in the 10th wants to choose projects that are joyful, creative, fun, work in a career that is potentially imaginative and something that truly brings you a lot of fun. Venus in the 10th doesn't necessarily want to do projects that are boring, right? And Saturn in the 7th says that maybe you cannot immediately do that because there are some responsibilities or some partnership matters that first need to be addressed. You get a job offer, you get an exciting opportunity to travel. Everything is about travel for me today because I'm very much in the mindset of going to Costa Rica in late September. But you may get an opportunity, right? You may get a chance to fulfill your aspiration, but Saturn in the 7th, your partner says no. Or your partner says yes, but they're not coming with you, and there is some serious decisions, some serious balancing you have to do. There might also be difficulties your partner is going through affecting your choices, where you're not going to take a job opportunity that you would rather take, but you will go for the one that pays better. And you may literally very much be balancing your relationship at work with your relationships and your personal life. Let me know how it goes in the comments below. If you are a Libra rising, we have Venus in the 9th house squaring Saturn in the 6th. Venus in the 9th wants to expand, wants to try new things, travel, study, learn, versus Saturn in the 6th says that you can get there, but it's likely going to take some time. Saturn in the 6th says there's this obstacle course you have to jump over. Saturn in the 6th, I'm a Libra rising. Please share with me, how has it been for you? There's been a lot of obstacles and the progress has definitely been slow, so I've been feeling that. And here you're literally looking at your health, you're looking at your everyday life, you are reprioritizing and needing to handle a lot, right? Like it could be as small and seemingly mundane as filing a paperwork that you have to do that maybe is not as exciting, but is necessary to get you there. Or it could be a more complicated where maybe your boyfriend has messed up his knee, as is the case with me, and you have to take care of him. And so your plans for the future, your magical view of the future, gets checked against the responsibilities and pretty much important, very important things you have to handle, but perhaps less glamorous than the things that you would rather do. So just, proceed slowly, be patient, and know that things will get better. For Scorpio risings, Venus in the 8th house squares Saturn in the 5th. And here you're dealing with tensions between your partnership, your joint kind of venture, and the matters connected to children, creative projects, and fun. So of course, this could be a sign that you and your partner are disagreeing about something, and maybe even potentially disagreeing about what to invest money into. One of you wants to go on vacation, another one wants to save for your future child. So you have to talk about this stuff. You may have to look at your joint finances as well and see how you see the future together. Might also be, I think, Venus in the 8th sort of has this desire to start a life together, to start a partnership, to open a joint bank account, to pay off a debt. And Saturn in the 5th says not yet. Saturn in the 5th says you have a responsibility to your business, you have a responsibility to your child, you have a duty connected to a creative project that you first need to handle before you will free yourself from the debts or start the life together, right? An example, you just got married, you want to start living with your partner, but maybe your house needs more painting and you need to go and take care of that. If you are a Sagittarius rising, Venus in the 7th house is going to square Saturn in the 4th. Venus in the 7th is very romantically oriented Venus. You are interested in dating, you're interested in joining forces with other people, coming together, starting new projects. And Saturn in the 4th says that there is some responsibilities, there are some blockages, there's some delays and frustrations connected to home, family, living situation that are needing your attention, that are more priority right now. This could be a sign of disagreeing with your partner, whether maybe you want to give your family some money and your partner disagrees with you, so now you are at this challenging turning point in your relationship, needing to figure out how to proceed. Could be a sign of your partner's relationship with their family, perhaps being to kind of straining your romantic relationship. Maybe you have a family member who lives with you and that is affecting your romantic relationship. If it's not a romantic, it could also be very much if you have a relationship that's kind of like marriage, but not really a marriage. Maybe it's a business partnership, right? Maybe you're facing a storage issue, or you are facing a living situation problem that is affecting your ability to give attention to your business. So look at your home, look at family, look at the boundaries you have in place and try to figure out a better way of fitting everything together. For my lovely Capricorn risings, we have Venus in the 6th house squaring Saturn in the 3rd. And here you're looking at work and health. Tensions at work, tensions in your health, in your kind of well-being connected to the 3rd house topics. So overwhelming schedule, writing projects that are due that you need to handle, communication issues, miscommunications, things unsaid that you need to express, technology breaking down, affecting your well-being, matters related to siblings as well. This could be very literal. A sibling needs your attention. They have been leaning on you very heavily for help, and you feel like that starts to affect your health or your overall sense of peace and happiness. So here Saturn is calling you to examine how you communicate, examine the things that you're saying, and maybe even more so things you're not saying. Examine your immediate relationships, your to-do list, and choose to prioritize yourself. Choose to let something go, as hard as it might be, in order to have a better work-life balance. It might also be Saturn in the 3rd could also be a sign that there is a lot of rewriting, redoing. Maybe you are a writer and you get a bunch of notes that you now have to go over. Just some kind of delays to your self-expression, delays to what you're trying to communicate and what you're trying to say. Don't get discouraged, keep working. Saturn always rewards that. If you are an Aqua rising, Venus in the 5th house is going to square Saturn in the 2nd, and this feels like financial difficulties, conflicts of values, delays in payments affecting your romantic relationship, affecting your child's life, affecting your creative projects. Venus in the 5th, Venus rejoices in the 5th. She wants to date, she wants to have fun, she wants to procreate, paint, dance, have fun. I already said that, but she really does. That's what she wants. She wants to have fun. And when it squares Saturn in the 2nd house, it says that, hey, there is something you have to look at. It can be connected to your money. It can be connected to your debts. It can be connected to maybe you're changing values, where you're examining your lifestyle and realizes that the choices you have made last year or 5 years ago are no longer fitting you. For example, you're spending too much money on partying while it's against your desire to start a business, and you really need to take a close look, examine your finances. It could even be the time in which you are really deciding to start saving money in order to have some fun in the future. Perhaps having fun means buying a car and taking road trips, or buying a property. So a lot of serious decisions. Talk to a financial advisor, make a plan, and rethink your finances, or rethink how your values align with the values of your partner, potentially. Finally, if you are a Pisces rising, Venus in the 4th house squares Saturn in the 1st house. And here, Venus in the 4th wants to have joy in the family, joy in the home, wants to maybe move in together with the partner, have happy experiences. And Saturn in the 1st says that there is something that you're doing that's potentially standing in the way. So you here are the Saturn. You here are either your own block, right? Or you are, there might be a health issue that you're struggling with that is affecting your ability to connect with family members, or it's affecting your plans for the future in terms of where you want to live. Could be a great chance to examine your personal resistance, your personal old-timey, I'm thinking of like a ship, and ship being covered in whatever it gets covered in after it's been in the water for a while. Clearly words are escaping me today. But your own resistance, your own stagnation, the fears that you have that are blocking your growth, or kind of fears that are preventing you from taking the next step. It's all about you, and Saturn in the 1st, even if frustrating, even if it's putting pressures on your health, on your sense of well-being, taking a lot of kind of time and attention, Saturn is very committed to making changes. So the changes here are slow and tough potentially, but they're still good for you. So commit to taking better care of your health. Commit to saying positive affirmations in the morning, meditating, running, doing yoga, whatever it might be for you in order to improve your sense of self and your well-being. This is it. Please share with me how your Jupiter Cazimi went. I hope it was a beautiful day. I'm filming it on the Jupiter Cazimi day, and it's been busy, but definitely cheerful and fun. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.